Welcome to hell. Kidding, of course. Although this is one of those sections in Cuphead that blew my mind a bit when I first dug in, and that's because everyone seems to have varying opinions on which parts are the hardest. Some think this is the easiest part of the game, actually, while others would rather play stealth missions in a shooter. I'm somewhere in the middle. You can tell too because I'm quick about beating the pawns but still take damage. Key for me was using Miss Chalice and jumping over everything I'd already beheaded, dashing at what I hadn't. I also like to watch the top for who's about to jump down and pay less conscious attention to what's happening on the ground. Please note at this point that you do not have to jump up in the air before you dash with Miss Chalice to get her parry to function, so sometimes it's better to just parry from the ground, especially in this section. The horse is next. He made me rage in the original encounter because I needed coins and wasn't trying to patiently learn his dance. He's one of the easier fights in the game though once you understand him, the only challenge being how much health he has. Basically, he's got 3 attacks. When he smiles, back away from him because he's going to swipe the air with his sword. When he's done, he takes his longest break, giving you the chance to land 2 dashes into his mohawk. If you haven't mapped your dash to the R2 button, by the way, now would be a good time. His second attack is a dash across the screen. You'll know that's coming when he draws his sword back to strike. Just double jump, dash forward into his head, and then you should be able to turn around, jump, and dash at his head again while he's gathering his thoughts. The last attack is when it looks like he's failing himself. Let him stab upward at the air, then dash into his pink hair once. This fight is prone to weird hitboxes, timing, and jump height issues, especially with Miss Chalice, but it's wildly doable after you've beaten it a few times. Next up is the one which gives me the most anxiety, even if I tend to beat it without too much trouble. Now's also a great time to be thankful that your health resets between each fight in the Gauntlet. Anyway, to beat Lumiere's sadistic cousin, you'll need to put out all the flames, then dash parry him a bunch while also avoiding his homing projectiles. Luckily, they only fire off in one direction before going away. My best advice if you struggle with this encounter is to remember and make use of the fact that Miss Chalice has an invincible dash roll. Just push down and dash, and you'll do the roll. It really helps get you safely from one side of the screen to the other. Otherwise, this is another fight which just takes practice to get. Maybe not perfect, but perfect enough to not die. Good to keep in mind here as well that being patient tends to save your ass, and doesn't make the fight more difficult. And now we have my personal favorite executioner of all time. Not that I've known many. It can be easy to opt for quantity of heads over quality in this battle, but that's a way to waste lots of time. Instead, look for a nice opening and walk that one head all the way over. Don't forget to dodge what's moving over the ground. Take advantage of the less frenzied heads still on the screen from your previous hit, and this fight's easy to overcome. It also helps here to remember that Miss Chalice gets a jump back after every dash parry that connects. Useful for dodging or landing extra parries while still in the air. Did I mention that using Miss Chalice in the Gauntlet is ideal? You can't use Jimmy's extra HP wishes in the Gauntlet, so the other characters only mean less HP and more challenging parries. Last in line is the queen, and my recommended strat for beating her safely is to spam those cannons. You have to counter her screen covering cups on occasion, and sometimes it makes sense to wait patiently on her crap to clear the screen before going back at the cannons, but mostly I'd say only a fool would try getting positioning perfect before shooting a cannonball at her. Blindly fire those suckers off as much as possible, only bothering with the extra worry of what you need to dodge, and she'll go down easier than any of these bosses. Like most things in Cuphead, the more you beat these stages, the easier they get, assuming you don't get wildly unlucky. I got all the way to the queen at one point in the Gauntlet, then died with one hit left to down her. Odds are you'll hit that same wall or something close to it. But this really is the sort of challenge which only gets easier with practice, so don't give up on yourself. If you've S-ranked an Aisle 4 boss, there's no reason you can't get this done, and if you haven't S-ranked a DLC boss, then there's definitely another video on my channel I'd like to recommend. Please like and subscribe since that tells YouTube to show you more videos like this and encourages me to keep making content.